It's more of a younger demographic thing. It's very,
Like
it's a very.
farts.
We actually do have a few of those. Yeah, we have like 3 of those.
There,
So,
100%. Yeah, 3.
you guessed it.
Just 3.
Yeah, I'd fit in with your group.
Yeah. Oh no, it's in here the cackling that goes on. I'm scared to come out.
Yeah.
I'm like scared to go to my own studio a lot of times.
Exactly.
Facts. No, I don't. I don't have a good voice.
You do. Your voice is mellifluous.
Oh, it's only because of that. It's only because you're hearing it through
Really makes it
headphones.
better?
Yeah, when you hear me
my
in real
God.
person, that's not my real voice.
No?
This is my real voice.
This is your real voice.
Yeah,
right
here.
now.
This.
Like
yeah.
I feel it. I can feel your voice.
You can kind of feel the voice in these
It
headphones. She's like, I got you. You have to hear afterward. And then here's the worst. Of course, going back to like technology, I let Luke. Wait, Luke, you have to show him real quick.
One thing is call us out if we nose breathe into the mics.
Oh yeah, if we start,
If we're ever deep in thought, we go.
yeah, you got to be
It's
like,
the worst.
Are there
thing.
certain things I'm not allowed to talk about?
It's the opposite. You could say literally anything. Those
I already
fucking
started
people.
rolling.
Oh, hang on.
hot.
Let me
We're
put the-
rolling.
Wow, Jade. So you have to give Herschel what. So
Yeah.
the only problem with giving someone.
That's the
Oh,
word.
you are rolling everywhere. Do you format? But here's why I question him. Funny, I haven't said it. Jade, will you show Herschel what we have in our ears?
No,
See how quick that is?
no.
I don't even know how it works.
And I turned it off. They're muted. They're all off.
did?
Oh, you guys are practiced at this, and I'm at a real disadvantage. And I don't like it.
No.
We'll do it after. It'll be like the finale.
No, so what happens is they come out here, right? Because I say to him, I'm like, hey, I got all these projects. Can you learn this brand new board? This Mackie thing is on a different level. As you can hear how good the audio is.
DLZ creator.
Ooh, there's a
Yeah.
plug. Maybe they'll send
Yeah.
us another one. I doubt it.
Oh, you got that for free?
Yeah, I wish. Yeah. Yeah, sure we did. Because our podcast is so big.
It's about to be. You got me.
Yeah, well, it's going to be now. We're about to blow up here. So as our dog's running through. So the reason I say this is I come out and he starts downloading sound effects off the
So I learned all
internet.
this serious stuff, like, because it has like 3 different modes: the beginner, the easy, and then the expert. And then I was like, you can load your own sounds on here. You just download it to the USB and just put it on there. I was like, this is dangerous. Too much freedom.
Yeah, so I come out and they have other mics here, and they're all sitting around here. Him, Jade, Paloma, Nico, the whole, and they're like doing table reads with this, and I'm like, what? And they're dying laughing, and I look, and there's all these sound effects, and I'm like,
We have like
this
20
is just
something.
too much power for them.
Yeah.
Like, so it's
You
turning.
have to be responsible with that kind of power.
Thank you.
I can't say that I am.
What kind of noises are we talking about?
It's more of a younger demographic thing. It's very.
Like
it's a very.
farts.
We actually do have a few of those. Yeah, we
There's
have like
some
3 of
fart sounds
those.
there,
So.
100%. Yeah, 3.
You guessed it.
Just 3.
Yeah, I'd fit in with your group.
Yeah. Oh no, it's in here the cackling that goes on. I'm scared to come out.
Yeah.
I'm like scared to go to my own studio a lot of times.
Exactly.
Facts. That's there he goes.
Oh my God, your dog, guys.
He was eating my jeans just right then. That's why I had to distract him.
Oh, you have to pick him up and show him to the camera.
Does Podcast Nation know that you have this dog?
I don't think anybody's seen.
Oh my God.
Once he comes around this way,
This dog would be internet famous.
Here he is. He's going to start his own podcast.
Seriously.
Careful. Look, I'm already getting bumped. There he is.
It's a pupcast. Yep.
There it
Yep.
is.
He
He'll
just
eat
licked
anything.
the mic.
Yeah, he's almost 5 months old. He'll literally eat anything.
Yeah.
He's chewed up the
podcast
walls.
trained.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're working on him. Starting him young. Starting those celebrities young.
I do feel, has this started? Are we actually doing our thing right now?
I think we're slow rolling into it.
Are we slow roll? Are we
I
actually
feel like a slow roll is good. I do feel like I'm at a disadvantage because of 2 main things. One, you guys are practiced at this. You understand how this all is supposed to go down. And 2, I have a lower back problem. So like I'm like routinely, my body wants to just do this.
No, we're gonna keep it that way for her. So by the end of the thing, he's laying on the table like.
By the end of this podcast,
We'll have the mic
I'm
on
going to
the
be like, hello. Anyway, that's me.
We don't have good insurance here, so if you leave
That's
here
okay.
an hour,
Hey, I got workman's comp, and I'm on the job.
You're we can call this. No, you're off the clock.
I'm off the clock.
This podcast, that's the one thing. So actually, how it started, and you'll probably appreciate this. As soon as people find out what you do, right? They're like, oh my gosh, can you tell me X, Y, and Z? And what inevitably has been happening is I'm like, I need to get a pulpit. And obviously this podcasting thing has become popular from what I've been told.
I just saw my first one today.
You went on Joe Rogan.
I did.
And that's
In
awesome.
case you're listening, Joe.
Yeah, if you want to come on, I'm just saying. No,
Yeah.
He's like, who,
Fix
what?
the man.
Yeah, exactly. I'm scared how you say that. Cheers to everybody. Well, so yes, I should first welcome. We have to do that. Welcome. Thank you so much, Herschel.
I appreciate you guys having me. This is a
Listen.
new experience.
This podcast is going to be packed. I know why. Let me tell you.
I don't. Why?
There's a lot of people watching this. I've been fortunate to get some incredible guests, you being one of them, because right here behind me, as I duck away from this, that guy on there is that guy right there.
I don't
And
believe
this
that.
movie is this guy right here. So you see where I'm going. I'm trying to fold everything entertainment into this podcast. So we're going to cover some of this information because you're about to start a Kickstarter on this.
Yeah, well, actually, an Indiegogo.
Thank you.
Because I think that platform is superior to Kickstarter.
A lot of people say that, especially in film.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, we're getting ready to launch an Indiegogo campaign for our feature film, Ethan Bloom. And Luke happened to be the star of our sizzle reel. And had we found the money to make this movie earlier, Luke would be playing the lead in Ethan Bloom.
What? You can still play 12.
You could play 12. We'll just have to shave.
Everybody write in now.
We're gonna have to
We
shave
get
him down a little bit.
We're going to kind of, we can work
We'll
this.
nair
means
his face.
There it is.
That works.
Nair.
Or yours.
Mine. We're going to go blue.
Yeah, go blue. I'm go blue. So we're getting ready to start that. It's a film that I'm directing with my partner, Mylin Dominguez, who wrote it. She's producing it, and she wrote it, and I am directing and producing it. And the plan is to find all the money we need to make it. We already have raised a small portion of it, but we're looking to make the movie between $300,000 and $500,000. I sort of pride myself on being able to stretch a dollar. And with this film, we feel like it fits right into that price point. So we have been putting together all the things we need to do to go out and find the money. We'll be launching our Indiegogo campaign soon, so be on the lookout for that. Thank you for having me, and thank you for the plug.
Absolutely. We'll put a link even below because I think it's, first off, I have to say, obviously he's used it for his reel. And everybody who's seen the sizzle, which is 5 minutes, and maybe if we get your permission for Indiegogo, we can put some of that
I
on
would
here.
love for you to show some of that.
So we'll put that in the link below so you can see, because we have some photos we can flip through to show kind of what set life is like, because a lot of people, when you're so caught up in it like we are, that's what this podcast is for, people who are like, I've never been on set a day, or they've been a one acting class, or they've been acting for years, but they haven't seen all the different angles that filming is made, right? I've had influencers on here, and influencers start with the camera in front of them, and then they want to kind of maybe go to doing a movie, and then they're like, wait a minute, I'm not directing myself. I have 50 people here. What the heck's going on? And they melt down. And then you have a lot of actors who are classically trained. And so why I'm so excited to get with you is you've accomplished many different things. You've been in LA for a while. You've made movies. You're still making movies. You're now at the New York Film Academy doing incredible things.
I am.
Teaching students. So you have such a unique perspective. It's not, you've done the red carpet, or actually maybe that's one later. I think you were uninvited on a red carpet.
What? Uninvited?
Wasn't there
Who would
a red
uninvite
carpet?
me?
I don't know.
Dun dun dun.
That's tea is being spilled. No,
I was
I'm
uninvited.
joking.
They may have
We'll
kicked
cut
me
that
off.
out later. No, but I joke saying you've been around a lot of these different things and different parties, and you've seen the industry.
Yes,
I have. You're not a. I don't want to.
I'm not a neophyte.
I was going to say I didn't want to out you that you're not 25
I'm
and
not.
you just started
I'm
filming.
30.
You're.
Yeah.
Wow,
It's true.
So you're a year older than I am.
I'm prematurely
That's
balding.
not bad. That's good. Okay.
It's
We're
a
looking
curse.
out here laughing. We have
We do
someone
have
in
some
the studio
guests in the audience.
Yes,
Live
exactly.
studio audience.
Yeah, exactly. Don't you have an effect for that? Jay needs to figure out where that. It's a role reversal. He's usually back there, so now I call him.
It's the green button on column A, in case you're wondering. It should say applause.
Oh, see, you thought I was kidding.
My God, we need an applause sign.
Oh, that would be. That's a good idea. Yes, back there.
An aside, every time I speak into this microphone, my voice just feels so seductive.
I didn't want to say it.
I literally need one of these in my home
just to call up people.
to call my wife
Be like, hi, honey.
into the bedroom. Just kidding. She happens to be in the audience, and
Right.
she's making a very, very sour face.
But what's very funny is they can't hear what we hear. They're just looking like they're a bunch of
okay.
idiots.
Yeah. They have no idea how amazing it sounds.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway.
And he's the one who programmed it for me.
It's great.
Listen.
You're really good. You are a sound genius.
Just saying. Just
Okay.
saying.
So go on.
So coming back to there's my head is all over the place with topics, from what you feel about what's going on in the industry, how it's changed with streaming. Without outing you, and I say this in a good way, you've received checks from the streaming companies for projects you've done. Is the dog's running around here?
Yeah.
You've received that, so a lot of people have. That's their ultimate measure of success. Oh, we lost that. Somebody needs to swipe on our iPad because that's what
It's all right.
Jade, can you? There we go. Hang on.
Hang on. And we also have a dog difficulty. He's eating everything he
He's
can.
kind of keeping me calm. He's distracting me. And it's good.
Good.
He's taking an inch off my jeans.
Has he? Hi, everybody. Say Kuma. Meet the audience. Audience, meet Kuma, which is also the Japanese word for bear. And ironically, they have a dog named Bear.
You do.
And if you've seen the previous podcast, Jensen has a dog named Bear.
All three bears.
Who would have thought? So I know, and he's like, what? So, hi, Bear. All right. I know he loves to chew on my goatee.
My
I don't know whether
God,
it's a color or something.
He's
He's a beast.
unbelievably cute.
Oh, say how cute I am. Good job. Okay.
Well done.
All right. Well played. There you go.
I heard that.
That's a stunt dog. What do they say?
Whoa.
Never work with
Animals.
animals and
You need
children.
a wrangler.
Being a wrangler. Stacy's been a wrangler on many different
But
sets.
she's doing it right now,
She's-
actually.
There it
She's
is.
wrangling the dog.
Good job. The dog is being wrangled. Yeah, so those that don't know, they actually hire animal wranglers. They hire, in the movie industry, you sometimes need something for, there's a scene that needs it. You got to find those
You
people.
gotta go and find
On
it.
the
As a
show,
director.
there was a kid wrangler. Because
Yes.
tweens, you got to keep them in line, you know?
Yeah.
Is this where I mentioned when they actually, on their first season of his show, the wrangler couldn't make it back because of like some PTSD, so they had to hire a different wrangler for season.
I'm not going to say that's completely untrue, but we did have a different wrangler for
every
for every
season. 'Cause that's what happens when you put
I'm
9.
not taking responsibility for that. This is
Was
not
the wrangler like an intern?
kind of, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So it wasn't like the person that they were supposed to hire to educate you on set. Because
No,
they're
we
supposed to
didn't-
have someone on set.
Yeah, they've had.
They had that person?
Different person.
Oh, different, huh?
Yeah.
I would have, see, in the indie film world, what we would do is we would hire someone to both educate you and wrangle you at the same time, and we'd save a buck.
Yeah.
That's how it's done.
Yeah.
And speaking of the way he said wrangle, I love that. It was like, it looked a little more than wrangling. He's like, we will keep these children locked.
will.
Right, because there's
Wrangling
no
meaning
union going on in that.
Lock the door, let them out when we need them for the scene.
Ankle bracelets.
Exactly. Ankle bracelets.
Oh, well, podcast is exactly where I wanted it to be at this moment. Okay, so I digress. So tell me, when you let's just jump into Ethan Bloom. When you first started putting the script together, you filmed this. This would be a great journey because so many people want to know: I wrote my script. How do I sell my movie? Or then it's, do I shoot my sizzle? Or do I spend the money and shoot the movie and then have to market the movie? There's so many different. What's your thoughts?
God, there's so many ways to skin the cat. For this particular project, it was written by my partner, Mylene Dominguez, and she actually happens to be the dean at the New York Film Academy. I'm the chair. On South Beach.
I told you we have powerful people coming
so
on this podcast.
Technically, she's without a doubt my boss, and she asked me to read the script, And, you know, as someone...
Did you have to do that? 'Cause you're your boss?
I
Did you
did
read the
everything in my
script?
power not to read the script because I didn't want to have to be honest with her about the script. Because the majority of scripts I read, they're not good. And that's the reality.
That's the
of life,
reality, yeah.
Right?
We know.
They're just really bad, a lot of them. But then finally, after 3 weeks, I couldn't avoid it anymore. And I remember being on my couch at home on a Sunday reading it and just losing myself in it. And by the end, I was like, I turned to my wife, who's here in the audience, and I said, I'm going to direct this movie. So I went to work the next day. It was a Monday, and I told Mylene, I said, Mylene, I love the script. I have some changes, but overall, this thing is like good to go. Let's do this. But one caveat, I want to direct the movie. And she graciously, allowed me to, but she wanted to produce along with me. Okay. And so that's how it was sort of the relationship was born. And from that point on, we started coming up with our own way of getting this film made. And we knew we wanted to make it independently. So having made independent films in the past, I know that you can do a lot with a little. And I knew that I didn't have a lot of cash on hand to finance it myself. And there's an old adage in the producing game, which is use other people's money.
OPM.
OPM. I think it used to be OPP. What's that? I don't know what that is.
That was down. Are you down with me? Everybody knows me. OPP. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. I don't really
Lucas
remember.
Totally left that right. He's like,
I feel like that's
sure
a reference that no one who's watching this will probably understand. But so we started coming up with ways, this is right prior to COVID, to get the movie made. And we started coming up with ideas on how to raise the money. Originally, our budget for this film, we thought would be around $1 million. I started sending it to producer friends that I knew, some in LA, some here locally. We were getting a lot of love for the script, just right off the script. And as we felt sort of the momentum going, increasing.
You felt you kind of knew you had something.
Yeah, we had something, and I was like, okay, this is going to turn into something, and maybe I don't have to go out and beat the streets and look for the money like I normally do. Maybe I'll get it through a producer who has a deal in Hollywood. We're talking to a couple of those people. It's a small movie, but it's something that could be made. You could stretch the budget. Let's put it that way, and make it for between 3 and 5, maybe 5 to 7 million, and have a really great cast, right? So COVID happened, like everything, and it was like a blip. Like 2 years just went by, and not all the momentum we had disappeared. The sizzle reel, which we shot, actually, not to digress, but we shot this sizzle reel for like next to nothing. Right.
Well, actually, I think we have a photo. If we swipe across in this folder, wait, I think we can go to. Wait, keep going. Yep. Wait, I think there's almost. Wait, go back. Wait, one more. Which one? There's kind of so you could show.
Wow.
There's a shot.
There's a shot. Look, it's not a big crew. I mean, that was our crew, and the majority of these people are students. We have one professional actor in Luke. And we shot it in two and a half days. We spent next to nothing, and we put together this really, really great sizzle reel, which is basically like a trailer for what the movie is going to be. It's a proof of concept for those that are not in the know. And I personally recommend doing that. It's not an expensive thing to do. It can demonstrate what your vision for the film is. It can also showcase your talent level. And it's a really good way to know whether you actually have something that's commercial or not, because you're not devoting your entire life prepping for it and shooting it. You're taking a weekend and you're going out and you're sort of testing the concept on your own to see if it's something that you think is viable. So we did that, and the sizzle reel kind of sat on a shelf for a while because of COVID. My editor, I actually am fortunate enough to share an editor with. I always say this. I share an editor with Francis Ford Coppola.
That's an unfair advantage he might have. So I don't. Those that are watching this, just saying Ford Coppola's editor. It's a very good
Subtle
sizzle.
flex.
Yeah. Okay.
His name's Robbie Schaefer, and he cut Cavemen, and I was blessed to have met him many years ago. And he cuts a lot of Coppola stuff. He's his guy, and so I sent him all the footage, and he agreed to cut the sizzle reel together, and he did just a real bang up job. And when I say share, I mean like occasionally he'll return an email.
Right. I was about to say.
And if he's literally got nothing else going on in the universe,
He's completely
maybe
bored,
he'll
and
do
he's
my
like,
thing. Yeah.
"Let me go to this guy Herschel.
This guy,
He
I
made a
forgot
few
him.
movies. Let me check out this."
Yeah, screw this guy. So we went through. So COVID ended, and Mylin and I sort of just started the process of coming up with ways to get the movie going. We did, I will say. I connected with one of my old friends in Hollywood who had a deal at Netflix, and we thought, let's send it to him and see what he thinks. He and his partner read it, and they went nuts for the script. And I'm a big believer that everything starts on the page. So if you have a strong script, it's going to find a life one day. It just will. It all starts on the page. Numero uno. So these guys read it, loved it, wanted to partner up, wanted to take it around Hollywood, and we said, okay, we'll spend some time doing that and see what turns up. We got a lot of good feedback, but the main feedback we got was this is too small for Hollywood, which we kind of knew to begin with. Right. So we got the rights back, Mylin and I did, and we decided to just raise the money on our own. So we had a fundraiser at my house one night. We raised a small portion of it.
We would have attended,
which I tried to get Vic to.
We were on a flight to Sundance with.
Yeah.
Oh wait, I was already at Sundance. Him and Jade were flying out, got on the plane, and saw Mylin on the plane.
I was getting on the plane. She's like, I got on the plane and I was walking past and I was just talking to Jade. I had my headphones on. I was just like, I just hear out of the corner, Luke. I was like, okay, so who knows me? I look over and she's like, we both just went, what are you doing here? And she was like, I'm on the way to Sundance. I was like, oh my gosh, me too. And we caught up for a minute and made plans to hang out later that weekend.
Awesome.
It was a very funny coincidence.
Didn't you guys share a meal together?
We did. Actually, I'm a big fan of Mylin's husband and
Phil.
And boy, Phil and I we were slowly pushed from my kids and Mylin to the other side because
That's the more irreverent side, I heard.
She's gonna write a show called The Cancel Dads or something.
Well,
so
that's a good idea, actually.
So they were like, "You go away," and I'm a big fan of him. Fan of him. Anyway, but so we did share a meal.
Yeah, I was upset you were on that plane because I was thinking to myself, Vic's in for like $50K, I think, on this movie.
Easy. Well, no. See, that's now I'm only in for that. I was going for at least the whole thing.
Were you?
Yeah.
Well, we'll talk after this podcast. Let's see how many views you get.
Exactly. Right. Maybe
I'll send you my bill.
Just the advertisement alone on this, when 9 people watch this, I think it's 9. Do you monetize at 10 people? I think it's 10 people.
It's a multiple of 9,000.
If I get 5 people to comment, it's actually pretty good. I'll take that. No, I mean, hearing that now here's what's interesting. Let's do the contrast because you're in that right now to one of your pick a previous movie.
So that I've done?
Yeah.
Well, there's really only one that I've directed, and it's called Cavemen, and it was in theaters in 2014, I guess. So it's been a while since I've had
You're
a
not
movie.
29.
I know I'm not anymore. But that was a movie we also made for a really low price point, and the way that movie came together, and I think the way that movie came together is really how this movie is coming together. And that is, it starts on the page. I had a really good script. It did really well in what's called the Nichols Fellowship, which is like a big screenwriting contest, and it was a finalist at the Austin Film Festival. So there are all these things that were working in my favor. And when I finally got around to making the movie, it was easy to convince actors particularly well-known actors, to participate in a project that wasn't, big budget, because they were getting a role that they might normally not get because it was an indie film. And, the reality is that really good scripts are hard to come by in Hollywood. So I was fortunate enough to make a connection to, I think, the grandfather of, and he would hate that I just said that, so hopefully he's not watching this. His name is John Levy, And
yeah.
he
Oh,
is
of
John
course.
Levy is one of the great casting directors, and he's a good. I'm proud to call him a friend. And he cast. He's won the Emmy 3 times. He's done like ER, The West Wing,
Oh, yeah.
Shameless.
Yeah.
Like this guy's the guy. And the way Cavemen really took flight was actually a friend of mine was able to get the script to him, and he read it. I don't know under what circumstances, whether someone forced him to or not, but he read it, and I got a call out of the blue one day from him saying that he loved the script and he wanted to know what was going on with the project. And I said, well, we're trying to get it going. You know, we need talent. At that point we'd raised really our budget, which was $300,000. And I said, who do you think we could get for that? And he said, let's see. And so what we did was he was able to, we went through the traditional breakdown services with the project. We went through the traditional casting, but he was able to make personal phone calls to agents, managers, people who repped a lot of talent. And, that's really the difference maker. At least with that project, having a really good casting director can really help you as a producer, help you find the actors that you need to make your movie. And at the end of the day, that's kind of what it's about in terms of raising money too. Mm-hmm. Who you got attached to your movie? How hard is it to attach someone to your movie when you have no money? You have to have someone advocating for you. And John has done that time and time again. He's actually advocated for us on Ethan Bloom. We have Jamie Lynn Sigler from The Sopranos is attached. And we have Victor Rasuk, who's attached, who is the star of Netflix's Baker and the Beauty. He's done Raising Victor Vargas. Like, we have these really, really great, well-known actors attached. And they all know that it's this small, little, low-budget movie.
But as somebody, because a lot of we focus on is the acting and entertainment industry, I think, and I brought this up actually yesterday, I was fortunate to have a kind of a famous actress, and when we were talking, and I hope it came through in the podcast, is every actor's looking for a great meaty role. Yeah. And I like it when I lean in. Every actor is looking for a great meaty role. And what's interesting, and the reason I repeat that is, look at like somebody like Rocky, right? How many 500 times he knew he wrote that for himself. Yeah. So when you're an actor and you can sink your teeth into that, when you have, like you said, there's getting good opportunities is rare. So when you have any actor, I've come to find a lot of the biggest actors will jump at the chance or move things around per se because they go, that as an actor, that's what they're doing. Acting's too hard to go into to make money. I mean, there's the anomalies that you find, but they are far outliers. That's the point percentage, not even. So when you get a great script and I say, would you say that the sizzle, because I'd love to go about sizzle and then talk about short, because I don't think people understand, like that would be a kind of thing for you and I to talk about what's a short, because a lot of people shoot a short to get to the money. Yep. So with that said, what's your thought?
I think that's another way of doing it. So like a sizzle reel is really, you're really just shooting the trailer for your movie, right? The feature. A short is usually you're shooting an abridged version of the feature or some moment or bit of conflict in the feature that you want to showcase. Now, most shorts usually are not sales tools for the feature. Usually, they're shooting shorts because they want to make a short, right? But there are people who will make shorts or will make shorts in order to showcase just how good the feature could be, right? Sometimes it's even different from that, where a short will really, really gain some acclaim, and then they develop a feature around that. So it sort of works that way. I'm trying to think of a good example. Whiplash?
I was just about to say that.
Whiplash.
I love that movie.
Yeah, great movie.
And the way they shot.
Perfect example, though. Crunching ice, sorry. That's probably annoying to hear.
No, this is part of the ASMR channel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we have an ASMR channel that runs.
I don't know what that means. What's ASMR?
Yeah, it's
you're talking in tongues now.
Luke, let's explain that.
I don't know what that means. Let me.
It's a good thing you know. No,
nothing like that.
Oh, I don't even know what that.
That's really the only A word I know.
Jade, what does ASMR actually mean?
It's like I don't know the exact.
What's the
like,
acronym? It's when it's like a thing that started and people like they
It's like
they
people
chew ice.
who like the tingles when you like listen to somebody whisper or something.
Yeah,
like
like
that.
how you
So
like
it's very satisfying.
Yes, it's an
Yes.
auditory.
It's an auditory satisfying thing.
What?
So to get back to the difference between shorts and sizzle reels, I think you can do either for to sort of showcase what you're wanting to make on the feature level. I think they can be, but obviously shooting a sizzle reel is going to be a little bit a little quicker.
Yeah, it's a few minutes. A few minutes.
It's a few
versus,
minutes. Yeah, and honestly, the thing that I'm learning nowadays, and maybe it's my kids that are wisening me up to it, but the attention spans of people, they've changed. And so sitting through a short is not like it used to be. It's like, oh, it's a short. But now some of these shorts I watch, I'm like, oh my God, this is the longest short I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It's like, why couldn't this just been a sizzle reel? I want a minute and a half, 2 minutes, and I'm out. And I get an idea of what the movie's going to be.
And it would be a better
And I can tell
project.
you whether I want to write a check or not.
And it would be a better project.
And it would be a better project. It's more fun. And I will tell you that I've shot a lot of shorts in my day, and I've shot only 2 sizzle reels, and I think the process of making the sizzle reels has been a little bit more interesting for me in terms of prep, because it forced me to go through and look at a feature-length film, 120 pages in this instance, and pre-visualize what the great moments were going to be.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then set out to shoot them in a way that is meaningful, that allows an audience to connect emotionally with the characters. And it allowed me to, go out. It put me in the position of also having to find really, really great talent. Like my good friend Luke.
Oh,
You have no
stop it.
idea how hard we looked for, like, before we saw you, we saw like 30 kids. And then you came along in my land, and I were like, oh yeah, that's the kid. So
See, there you go.
Thank you.
I didn't know things we all just learned.
we never told her the process because,
Yeah, no,
but that was the process. We looked at no less than 30 kids. I mean, and we were really becoming a bit despondent because we weren't finding
You're like,
anyone.
where are these? Yeah, no.
I was like, what's happening here in Miami? Come on.
yeah, there's
Where
got
are
to
the
be
actors?
exactly. Well,
So.
it's true. There's a different. There's a. In LA, where you've done a lot of stuff, obviously came from LA, you come here to Miami, and you realize that people who are serious about it hit a level. And the old expression is you got to go out to LA, right? And I always use the analogy, if you want to be in the financial investment world, you don't have to move to New York, but it couldn't hurt you to go spend a few years on Wall Street and having cocktails with people and getting to know. And I feel the same thing with LA is there's still so many of the decisions made and collaborative. It's very collaborative. And I'll be the first one to say, I found Miami market to be one of the I'm going to probably get flamed, and that's fine. I've been here for close to 20 years, and I found it to be the least collaborative, most kind of isolated, everybody's very much siloed. And where in LA, I'm working on projects, or even in New York, I'm getting phone, even internationally. And I don't know why that is, but like just going back to casting and that, it's phone calls. Hey, I know somebody. So I could only imagine, casting here in Miami and trying to find talent. It's, and a lot of the projects have left. I mean, everybody keeps saying it's coming back.
I haven't seen it.
None of us. I know.
Well, until
seen some investments, but not.
Yeah.
Results.
Well, you guys, I mean, the tax credit is everything. So once we get a tax credit back in this state, it'll be back. I mean, I was here. I got my start in the, oh God, I'm dating myself here. Early to mid 90s, before I went to film school, actually. And I worked as a PA on a film called Too Much that was directed by Fernando Trueba, who won the Academy Award for La Belle Époque.
Okay.
And it was my first gig, and I was a PA, and I started off as an intern. They bumped me up to PA, and it was like a who's who of Hollywood. For me, it was like, whoa, oh my God, Antonio Banderas, Melanie Griffith, all these people. It was really cool. And I got to really learn about the film industry. And there was a lot of industry in Miami and in the state of Florida at the time. And there was a tax credit. Like there was, like Miami in particular was like Hollywood Southeast.
It was. No, it was. I mean, Miami Ice was going on. There was a million different shows that were being made here.
Tons of stuff.
Yep.
And you're right. It has gone the way of the dinosaur. But there are still people around, and you know, I think what you pointed out, you know, it might not currently be as collaborative as it has been in the past, but I think that's something that you're doing right now. You're making it more collaborative. That's what this podcast is, and you know, calling attention to the issues that face actors and filmmakers in Miami. That's a meaningful thing. And you should be.
It's not.
I want to give you a high five for that.
I'll take that, buddy. I will take that. I mean, it's not as good as the compliment that he get, but honestly, he deserves it, and I understand. No, but it's true, and it's. If you can't collaborate, and making a movie. That's why it's like, you know, you look at these sets and I know that.
God, I was thinner then.
Look, what am I? I'm the camera in between the two of them. But but the reality is, thank you. And it's red, and now I'm a red. I did not like red back then, and they were he's also red certified. He's
now
been
2
through,
to 3 cameras here are red.
Yeah, a bunch of red. But the reason I say that is, the technology's changed, all the game changed, and being able to collaborate and share this information and be like, hey, how do you do it? I've learned more from experiences with working on different sets, like when you casted him, you had no idea I was in the business. I had
no clue.
Right. Everybody thinks that I am the complete, what do they call it? Nepotism? The Nepo babe? What's the...
You were a dadager.
That's what I'm wearing, right? Because it's like, oh, you're in the business, so sure, you knew this guy, and that's how you had nothing to do with that. And that's where I think, as an actor, you don't want that, because then it's extra baggage to carry. Like, you earned it on his own, and then we became friends, and we started talking about projects. And that is where you can really collaborate. And that's the best way. And I believe that I grew up, well, now I'm dating myself, in the 80s in acting school, the actor studio, in different ones. Everybody would leave an audition and be like, oh, they're not looking for a bald-haired blue goatee. They're looking for...
You were bald in the 80s?
I was born bald. Never happened.
All right, go on.
Sorry. Yeah, exactly. Actually, no, I had some hair. That was in a different body. Oh, my God, I'm not going to pull out my old headshot.
Oh, my God, I would kill to see your headshot. I don't want to interrupt the story because I'm really interested in it. I am, actually. I really am.
I don't even know where I'm going, because when I heard about my headshot, it really, I had pain because I had hair like that.
Did you?
We have the photos. They're in our folders.
But no, I'm going to keep going on. Only because you said it, and it's only because everybody doesn't believe that I had hair, because they look at his hair and they're like, oh my gosh. And so then I have to literally find this photo. I don't know, Jay.
How did this photo make it into the digital realm?
I have a book back from when I was running some master classes here. Okay. And in the book was some headshots, and I am going to find them really quick. So, okay, so while we're talking, but, you know, I could do this. I think I could do two things at once. We'll see. The collaboration and what you just said. Tell me now, I'm going to switch gears completely, because you happen to be with one of the top film schools there is. So tell me what you think about film school and the collaborate. Like, what, because you just said before you went to film school, you did stuff. Yeah. Now you're on the side of film school. So I'd love you to give me that and what people can get out of that versus.
I mean, film school, before I get into the film school thing, I just want to say one thing about the collaboration part. So, and this is a true story that I think the audience should know. This is about your dad, what a good guy he is. So I had a student who was shooting an intermediate film, right? And I think you were acting in this intermediate film, right? And they had some crazy cockamamie idea for a drone shot, and I tried to talk the student out of shooting this bit, and I was like, you don't need it. But they were, you know, I try and let students make their own choices. And so the best way to learn sometimes is to just try it. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Anyway, I think you probably remember this shoot, but your dad, this is how collaborative he was. He was the drone operator on this shoot. And I'm pretty sure you didn't charge this student a damn dime, right? By the way, I would have charged him. But you didn't. And that's what this is about, you know.
She was a young filmmaker.
She was, exactly.
I think the thing won some awards.
I said a he, but she.
Austin.
Austin.
I think the Austin College.
It did?
Won awards.
Holy shit! No one told me.
Yeah. So there you go.
Well, there you go. Well, so guess what? That was pretty amazing, and that's the kind of stuff. That's the kind of stuff that we we need to have in Miami. And I'm sure it exists in different circles. But, you know, the thing about filmmaking is that it's such a niche specific business. It's like when you find people that you connect with and that you can collaborate with, you want to keep collaborating with them. And the hiring someone new and bringing them into your circle is always a very scary prospect. And that's why it's really hard to break into the film business, because people don't want to take that risk.
Well, they do, yeah, because it can bite you.
Bite you bad.
And one bad person on set, one toxic person.
Yep.
And everybody's there to support the director, but and then you get the divas or the different, and it can literally tank a project.
Completely. The old adage, the squeaky wheel only gets squeakier.
Yeah, that's actually
That is literally my mantra. So if I see someone on set who's bringing the wrong energy, they're gone. I mean, that's the only way to deal with it. I can't have that kind of poison on a set. I can't. It's got to be a really, really collaborative environment where I feel safe as a director to make the choices I'm going to make, where everyone can speak their mind, you know, within reason.
Yeah.
Within reason, but in a way where, you know, we're all enrolled in the same idea, which is we're trying to make the very best film we can. And yes, I am the director, but I rely on every single person on that set to make the film as good as it can possibly be. So I put myself on that level with anyone.
It's so true.
Who's working.
And I'm so glad you said that. And I know Luke's got probably all sorts of set stories and things. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm going to look for this picture.
I mean, it's a team effort, really. I mean, yeah, one person can really screw up the whole energy and the flow, because that's energy is the most important thing on set, because you can tell on screen if the actor's having fun or not, and when they're not, it shows.
Does it affect your performance?
Oh, I'm not going to give any specific names or stories, but
Name names.
All right, so
Here comes the tea.
Nothing good ever came out of
it was an ensemble, but
yeah.
one person was a bit of a diva, you could say, to work with, and it just slowed everything down. We were late on shots for the entire day, and everybody was pretty annoyed with this person, understandably, because it slowed down everything. The director got more upset, and we're like,
tension. It's like going to war, right?
yeah.
Life is short.
I
don't have time for that.
I feel so blessed to be in this business. I started in it when I was young in New York, and then I let myself go into I'm going to go make money in the tech world, and became this tech guy and did all these CEO things. And I missed the collaboration and that enjoyment of having a real set life, right? And so, like you just said, when you bring somebody on who doesn't understand, so, okay, when I'm writing a script or that's happening, there's a certain amount of my time and whatever time's happening. But when you're shooting and you have all these people that you're paying by the hour and feeding and all this going on, and this one person, whoever
Just
it is,
slows
everything
down to a halt.
This guy Herschel right here slows everybody down by 30 minutes.
Flattering
Multiply all of that by the money you're paying, and you don't have the next day, and then everybody's running, and they don't get it. They're just so when they don't have that self-awareness that they can't get past their own ego, that I'm the star of this,
right?
And they're like, you're part of a team, and everybody can be replaced, even the big star, as we're finding in Hollywood and all that. So going back to that, there's serious money and energy being spent, and then you as the director have to turn the other cheek and be like, okay, keep the happy face. I'm missing my shot that I really want for everybody for this project that we're all part of creating this thing. So it gets, they don't get it. And then you go into the edit. And it's such a hard business to get as a director, you know. And, I'm sorry.
No, it is. You're right. And you want to hire people that, you know, when you're crewing up or when you're casting, one thing I'm looking for I am looking for team players. And I've had actors who refuse to read for me because they're, you know, beyond that part of their career where they have to read for directors. And what it turns into is an interview. And in that interview, I'm interviewing them, but they're interviewing me. I'm just trying to get from them, you know, why would you want to make this low budget film? Like, what is it that's driving you? And if there's something organic that comes out of them, And if it's not ego driven, but they just connect to the material, then I know that's going to be a really, really good person to work with. If they've already thought about what their character's spine is and they're talking about it and they're relating, their own past experiences and how that could shade or affect the way they interpret the character, I'm interested in actors like that. So, actors that do their work, even before an audition, those are the ones I pay attention to and I look for. And sometimes I do. It's interesting in the casting process. I have like these preconceived notions, I think all directors do, of what the character should look like. You've read the script.
You vision, it's a visual.
Pre-visualized
It's a visual medium,
times.
yeah.
And so, there is that old adage, well, I didn't get the part because I didn't look like the part. And sometimes that is the case. But I can also say that there are a lot of times, like for me personally, where someone's come in and they don't look anything like the character I imagined would look. And they just knock it out of the park because they have such a grasp on who the character is, So I think I get a lot of young actors in particular who don't do that work prior to the audition. They're just going to come in and read, and hopefully they get it and move on to the next thing. But it's the ones that do the work that I find myself most attracted to in terms of casting. So that's just a little casting tidbit.
Yeah, hey, everybody out there
Write
paying
that
attention.
down.
Yeah, I was just going to say,
Just do the work.
Take
you get sides from someone, and even if it's like, even if it's like 3 lines, make up a backstory,
Mm-hmm.
You think something so big. So during COVID and over the years, I've run some master classes. And the reason I say master classes is because I can't start at the beginning. And I will literally get some good actors and I'll take scenes and you'll like this. I'll take a scene and I'll be like, here's one scene, here's the next scene.
Yeah.
And I'll take something where it's hypothetically page 6 and the other page is page 72. And you can start weaving as an actor because you may not get more than 3 pages, like you just said. So you got to figure out, okay, weave the story. What happened in this? What happened here? What is that transformation of the character? Are they? And that is where a real actor, and this is how I was taught for years and years and years, is you really have to bring that to the table. And nowadays, like you said, it's like I've seen many castings, and this goes on in LA and stuff, where they're literally putting this the teleprompter up for them to read the lines. These guys, he shakes his head. He has it memorized. He's got it do multiple ways to perform it. He's like, okay, let me see it. And that is where the craft, and I go, and you brought up something, and because we're talking about different actors, I've not met Tom Cruise. Not yet, and maybe he'll come on anyway. But that's
No doubt.
my next guest coming up next, Tom Cruise. Anyway, so but the reason I say that is another Jersey boy, and we grew up at similar times, and he came out of Red Bank area and all that. So long story short, or short story long, is he prepares. He's constantly consummate. He knows how lucky he is to be in the business. And then you take somebody similar. You have Eric Roberts, who I do know, who I've been to his house. Eliza Roberts, Julia Roberts' brother.
Can you send him my script? I'm just kidding.
We actually, he knows Luke. Actually, I have a video of Luke filming him in. Wait, so this is the story. Luke and Jade and he's got his Red camera on Amazon boxes with his wife, Eliza. There's a video of this. And he's talking about how he is still doing self-tapes or submissions, and he finds it. And I mean, this guy was on the cover of Hollywood Reporter, Hollywood royalty. So, I mean,
back in the day,
possibly going to set the Guinness Book of World Records for more movies.
Sure.
I mean, so he's
done
a
like 6,000,
working actor, like boom, and he still reads, and he still. So when I hear actors like, I don't read, I'm like, you know what? I don't think you're even going to be right for my set. Maybe you might be right for the part, but you're not right for my team.
Nobody's too big to prepare.
Yeah.
Like, that's the least you can do.
Exactly.
No, you're getting this opportunity. You have to prepare.
You got to do the work. Let me ask you a question, Luke. So now that COVID is hopefully waning a little bit, I know it's coming back, as they say, and who knows what that's going to lead to, probably nothing. But what I was going to say is, when you audition for a role, are you doing it in person anymore, or are you still in the world of self-tape?
I will say almost never in person. Almost never. I mean, only really for... Last self-tape I did was also for a commercial, but all film, TV, everything is self-tape. Maybe 1 in every 5 is in person, but that's all for commercial still.
Wow.
So-
Yeah, that's this market. Yeah, I was going to use, when he says commercial for people that aren't watching, it's like he's done a bunch of Five Below, and they'll be like, okay, hey, we want you back, or, you know, and stuff like that. But anything, he's had some big reads, and he actually just booked one before the shutdown. He did a
congrats.
nice project for the AFM, SAG, big one out in LA, and that was a self-tape. And self-tape, everything is ever. And
so weird.
It's the worst. It's the worst way to cast an actor.
But my favorite projects that I've booked, and the majority when I book is in person. In person,
interesting.
and I really prefer in person just because you get to really connect with the director and just exchange your feelings about the script and the project in general, and also you just get to talk with them because instead of like during the self tape, every actor says that they hate it. Is the tell me about yourself in 45 seconds or a minute.
Right.
Like if you're in a room with somebody and you talk to them, it comes more naturally and you really get to know the person.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, you know, there's no substitute for the live audition.
Absolutely.
And I love it. And I love, you know, I've been involved in auditions where it's like, where I'm not the one doing the auditioning, where I'm not directing. And it's very, you know, scary in the room. And I'm sure you've been in those auditions, and there's not a lot of talk, and there's no one really putting you at ease. But I was talking about this with someone the other day. I was like, why wouldn't you create an environment for an actor that is conducive to them giving you the very best that they've got? Like,
100%.
I don't understand it. I don't understand the philosophy behind being like, you know, quiet and having someone else, you know, sort of run the audition and not engaging with the actor and all these things that you hear about. And I think it is, you know, I know the self-tape thing is now sort of the new thing. And then beyond the self-tape, what happens? Do you have a Zoom audition?
I mean, back, I would say before COVID, most callbacks, like second, third round callbacks would be in person, which I really liked. But now everything is Zoom.
It's all Zoom.
It's all self-tape and
How
then
do you
Zoom.
direct someone over Zoom? Explain that
with
to
bad
me.
Wi-Fi in a hotel lobby with 30 people in the background and the audio's terrible and they can't see your face.
I was just
It's ridiculous.
I'm teaching a class in producing right now, and I was just telling we did a whole module on casting, and I was running through old tapes of actors that I've cast and things like that, and I was going through the process, and I was like, listen, self-tape is going to be the way that you get a lot of particularly in Miami where people are submitting, they'll do it through self-tape, and that's great. But I think if you really, really want to gauge an actor's performance, go through that self-tape stuff and then whittle it down to the ones that you think you're interested in and contact them, obviously, through email, and set up a time for them to come read for you in person. Because that's when you can not only see what they've got, but you can also learn a lot about yourself as a director, because you get the opportunity to direct. You get to direct
And see if they
and
can.
see if they can take your direction.
Exactly.
My favorite
You
part
know?
of in person.
Yeah.
Because you want to get a sense of how the director's going to direct and how well you guys can like collaborate together and get the vision correct, you know?
Exactly. So, you know, I'm hoping that kind of changes.
If
whole
I can,
self-tape.
yeah.
Zoom
I'm going
thing.
to add on to that. I'm just making sure he doesn't chew my headphone cable. So if I lose you guys here and my headphones, it's because
Why did the camera just cut out?
yeah, exactly, because of the puppy is chewing everything,
Yes.
and he has teeth made out of diamond shredders or something because he goes through wires like you.
Although I was told he hasn't really broken your skin yet, Vic.
yeah, yo, that was you mean earlier all these blood marks? Yeah,
Those are flesh wounds.
Yeah, just a flesh wound.
Just a flesh wound.
So I'm going to go back to because
Yeah.
I want to bring it back because you said something that's really interesting. If an actor comes in, yeah, I know. So that's why I was like,
did.
wait, hold on. I took notice of this. If an actor comes in to a performance, you get to direct them, and you go, you know what? Maybe you weren't the look for this. But
Yeah.
you delivered it so, and it's happened to me on movies. Now here, I'm going to throw this at you, and I'm the one saying it, so cancel me. I feel that Hollywood lately doesn't really care about the performance in a lot of ways, and they're looking for, are you visually right for the part? And because you don't look a certain way, it doesn't matter about your acting chops. The director never even gets to really see a lot of the self-tape per se or work with it. So I think that this self-taping is really, maybe it's giving the casting directors or the people, more people who are submitting, because you have to get off your whatever and drive to the casting and wait for an hour sometimes and go in and meet with the director and perform
From Miami to
something.
Orlando.
Right.
Yeah.
But now, exactly. He's driven from Miami. We've driven.
Wow.
Yeah, oh no, he's flown to LA, right? So the difference is now I could just go, hi, I'm Victor, and here's my self-tape. And you know, so you're getting flooded. So I wonder, I have no data behind this, but I'm just saying I've noticed a lot has changed in this industry. And maybe, I'm just, I'm throwing that one out there. We don't even have to talk about it because it could be a hot topic. I
like hot topics. I also like the store Hot Topic. So this is going to be good.
Is that where, that's where you got the shirt?
Yeah, those were our shop.
I know, I liked it.
Hot Topic.
Did you wear that because
Hot
we went to
Topic
Japan?
and Spencer Gifts.
Spencer, oh,
Yes.
yes,
are my
run
two.
up to, maybe they'll sponsor now.
They might.
Spencer, come.
Brought to
I
you
don't know
by
if I can-
Spencer Gifts.
I don't know if we can have anything.
Make your way to the
on-
back. You'll love it. Make your way to the back of the
Is
store.
it where we get all our film props?
It's where I get my Valentine's Day props. Anyway, I don't even know what that means. But
You have to. Yeah. Oh, you came in separate cars. Good.
Yes,
You don't
we
have
did,
to, I
thank
was going to
God.
say she'll call you anyway and yell
God.
on the way home.
But you bring up an interesting question, and I don't know if I know the answer to that. Whether there's been like I think there's always been in Hollywood just this search for the look, the right look, right? And if the person can act, that's a bonus.
Right.
But I think that like over time, it's weird. Maybe it's shifted a little bit. If you can find someone who's the right look and can act, that's
You
kind
win.
of the trifecta, right? Or whatever
Yeah,
two.
you just
two.
win.
You just win. Trifecta would be 3.
They're available.
I think it's the perfecta. The perfector's 2. Anyway, I've had interesting experiences where I have cast people just based on how they look. In fact, the very first short film that I ever worked on or directed was here in Miami. I was in school. I went to Columbia. I got my master's. And for my first film, I flew a crew down to Miami, and we had 2 actors. Both were Broadway actors on this film. So I'd gone through, really pushed through the...
Well, but Broadway acting, that's how I started, and that's real training. That's training.
Super, and they were
that's how
they were really good actors, and I was like, yes, this is great. This is going to be great. Flew them down, put them up, negotiated deals at hotels, got them free lodging. It was unbelievable. Miami was like this really collaborative place. Everyone and their mother wanted the industry to come to this city, and it was. I mean, I shut down Ocean Drive for a night.
Wow.
2 blocks.
No,
Right in front of the Colony Theater. They shut it down for the grand total of $0. Everyone at the Miami-Dade Film Office, I hope you're paying attention to that. That was back in 1996 is when I think I
That's
shot
when
my
they
first.
cared about what
They cared. And they gave it to me.
Wow.
Like everyone was like...
Because they're like, we want the tourism. We want people watch it. It's,
Yeah.
I don't
And this
know
was just a student short.
That's why I'm...
But
yeah.
the deal that I made was, listen, I'm going to come back one day and I'm going to make films in Miami. And, hopefully they'll be big budget films. Little did they know. I screwed them.
All right, maybe Miami-Dade
You might
film
wanna
the point. Yeah, exactly.
No, maybe keep that in. That's
Right,
funny.
exactly.
But the point is where was I going with this?
We were talking about real acting, the Broadway actors you had.
Yeah.
and
So the thing about it was, I did the local casting for the smaller roles in Miami because I couldn't afford to fly people down from New York at that point. And remember Ellen Jacoby?
I know Ellen Jacoby.
Yeah. So Ellen was
actually
a
put me in
friend of ours.
Okay,
yeah,
I love
a good
Ellen.
friend of mine, or was at the time. I haven't talked to her in a while. She used to teach at Nappe, actually, but she did the casting, the local casting in Miami on my first short, and I was in her office, which was actually in the 420 building where Nappe is now.
Oh my God,
This
everybody's
is
been
way
there.
back
I had
in the
an
day. I know,
office
it's
there once.
crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So she brought in. It was I needed a guy to play the part of the doctor, and there were like 3 scenes with the doctor, and they were pivotal scenes in the film. And so she brought all these actors in, and they were all just dreadful and unprepared, and like half of them showed up and thought it was like a print ad audition, like they didn't no clue what was going on. And I was like, okay.
Wait, I
this
have
is not
lines?
gonna-
I have to move my mouth?
I was like, what? I'm not just posing with a cane? So anyway, in my 20-some-odd-year-old brain, I thought to myself, I will direct a performance out of one of them. I am the greatest director that has ever lived, and I can take this person who has 0 talent, and I will make them amazing.
When they're accepting the Oscar.
So, so I did that. I cast this guy, and I won't name names because, well, you wouldn't know his name anyway. And when it came time to shoot, we were on set. It was the first day of the shoot, and he showed up, and he didn't know his lines. And we're running through rehearsal, and I'm like, "You're playing a doctor, and you have like 2 pages of dialogue, dude. What do you mean you don't know your lines?" He's like, "Don't worry, I'm good. And so I was like, okay. And I just, and my cinematographer did one of these. Like, let's go talk. So he pulled, it was my cousin actually, who was my cinematographer. And he was, so the two of us, we went on the hallway, and he looks at me and goes, "You got to fire this guy." Like, stat. And I was like, "But if I fire him, then I don't have anyone, and the whole movie will go to shit. I'm not going to be able to finish the film. What am I going to do?" And then I went back in, and I saw him read one more time, and I said, "I'm going to fire him." So I took him outside, and I made up a really nice excuse. "Hey, we've just decided to go a different way. It's never easy to fire anyone, but I think that I was really, really, for my 20-some-odd-year-old brain, I thought I was.
You fired him well. Did you do that?
I paid attention to his emotional life.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I did. And so I think, I blamed it on something else. It had nothing to do with him. But I was still in the situation where, man, I was in trouble. Interestingly enough, my dad, who is a real life doctor, was on his way to set, and just to see what was going on. Right?
Didn't just play one on TV.
Yeah.
He's actually real.
And I looked at my my cinematographer, my cousin, and I said, "My dad could do this. Why didn't I just cast him? That was foolish of me." So he shows up on set. I go, "Dad, you want to play the part of the doctor?" He goes, "Well, I am a doctor." And I said, "Exactly. You're going to be great.
You're born for this.
So we just started. I gave him the stuff. I said, "Here, take an hour, memorize everything." And we started shooting with him. And I'd like to say that he was amazing.
You'd like to say that.
I'd like to.
Mm-hmm.
But,
Hey, it worked.
it worked.
How much
Actually,
did he
the
charge
film
you?
is okay. It's not a terrible film. It actually has it actually played at the Miami Jewish Film Festival back in the day. It was when it first started, and there was a whole thing about it.
How appropriately we have
Yes,
this picture.
exactly. And he's really good in 2 scenes, and 1 scene he's just terrible.
Oh, no.
I hope to God he's not watching, but he knows. I've told him. And it's just because it's the scene where he has to show really it's his mom is in the hospital, and it's like, I don't think he got there. I don't think he got there sense memory wise, I guess is what I'm saying. So
Didn't go full method on you.
didn't. But my point is I don't know what my point was. I was saying
Well, there's a
something
confessional picture, and that'll help you.
Yes.
Jade will pull up our confessional.
Something I will say, going back to the whole
Yeah.
looking the part thing, is I think everybody knows casting directors, when they get it self-taped, they'll just look at maybe the first frame and decide whether they want you or not. But in person, even if you walk in that door, they can't just kick you out immediately. Like, "What are you doing here?" But it gives you a chance to leave an impression and make them remember you, which can end up landing you the part rather than just being skipped. They're not going to skip you in real life. I hope they don't skip you in real life, but you can kind of build a connection with them and kind of prove yourself to them, even if they're not even if you're not what they envisioned. You can maybe leave a mark.
I agree completely. Again, great casting directors are everything to me, honestly. If you can connect with people like that, great casting directors, they appreciate talent over everything. I can tell you John does. John Levy, he's all about the talent. Yeah, the look is important, but if you've got the chops, that's what's most important to him.
It's so
And to
true.
me.
If you're real, the comments I make, I can't wait to this actually more than 4 people show, because I'm going to get so much hate. But the moral of the story, I was going to say, real filmmakers, people that actually care about the acting. And they understand that it's about the human connection or the connection. That's why you watch a show. That's why otherwise, like you said, it's 30 seconds of what is this TikTok, Instagram, whatever short do. Because if you can't connect and you can't fall in love with that character, you can't find something about that character. It's like the bad guys who we hate so much. That's very hard. to play. You know, so there's so much more that as a director you see, and having a casting director. Actually, I'm very fortunate because we have a dear family friend who's a casting director who said she's willing to be on. She's actually on a project right now. She's flying out from LA. She's worked on a bunch of big projects.
That's
so
great.
we're gonna have her. She's said she's willing to do it. And we're gonna have coming up in one of the podcasts. We'll have a very interesting current casting director doing some neat stuff.
great.
Anyway, yeah. So
What kind of stuff is she doing?
Oh, she did all this. She did a lot of the CW. Her and her friends did all
that's
the,
great.
and how they started weaving the stories back in the day. And then she left there, and now she's done a bunch of different kids shows. She's worked. Well, I'll let her. Yeah, but somebody who's in the business currently working, doing, you know, because that's what I'm looking for is today is how much. And honestly, I know when we were, you know, joking at dinner, you do have so much to give in this podcast, and what you're already sharing it's super valuable because you're in it, not just making a movie. You've made movies.
Yeah.
Yes, you've done all that. You're still at it, and you're at one of the top film schools working with students.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of angles that you know. I've still got a few more questions. I'm sure Luke does
love
too.
it.
But
I could do this all day. It's my first podcast ever.
you're ready? Sign you up for Joe Rogan.
Let's go.
Exactly. I don't know if I have that following yet, but I'll give you a little moment before I go into the next one.
It's here.
Who is here?
I found it.
Thank
I'm not gonna. Should I pull it up? Should I throw it on the TV, or do you just want to see
Pull it out, Vic.
Here we go, Jade. Should I put it on the TV? Here we go. You're gonna have
You're
to
gonna
take over
hijack
the
the
TV
TV?
in a minute.
Oh, no.
I'm gonna hijack the TV. For
I
this.
can't wait to see this.
I know we're gonna get that. We're gonna get the audience reaction because I don't think your wife's seen it, and there's a lot of reasons she wouldn't. Because why would anybody want to see my old?
She also
headshot?
needs to put her glasses on to see it.
Okay, here we go. Technology happens when technology. I'm attached to one of the cameras, so now I have to go to my studio so I can actually play it on this TV right here. Please hold. Here
Struggle.
it comes. The struggle is real, everybody.
Connecting
So
Wi-Fi.
wait, we're gonna have to do this on a different podcast, is what you're telling
No,
me?
yeah, exactly. Stay tuned for
Part
part
two.
6 of Vic's headshot to just embarrass. You know, you came here, so I'm willing to share my embarrassing photo here, which is about to come up, and it's right here.
Wow,
You're not. Everybody has that reaction.
dude, you look. You know, you kind of.
Kurt Russell.
You look like you could have been. Yeah, you're very Kurt
Everybody,
Russell-ish.
yeah.
But I was gonna say, like, you look like you could have hosted like Card Sharks. Or one of those game shows. in
Or
the
how about
80s.
Biff?
Oh my God, dude! Right out of Revenge of the Nerds. Oh yeah,
I've got some other.
that's really good.
Yeah.
How do these work for you? I would think you'd have been.
Oh,
cast
I had a
all-
bunch. Yeah, I actually I told you I left, or I don't know if I told you. I was talking, I think yesterday. I left the industry because I was supposed to go. I had a major soap opera set up. I was about to go, and I just said, you know what? I'm going back into tech and get in the restaurant business. And from there.
You have really good hair, really good teeth. Your eyes are popping. It's a good headshot.
Yeah.
Let me see the.
The
other
guy
one
would
again.
be canceled if he was still alive for that. Well, that's a story for another day. New York photographers. That's
Really?
a story for a different day. Yeah. So
I don't know what that means, but I'm intrigued.
yeah, exactly. I'm going to let Jade take back over and put up a more interesting picture of you guys.
Hey, one thing we were talking about that I wanted to sort of, I don't know if we ever sort of closed the book on it, but like in terms of like getting movies made, we've been talking a lot about casting, but one of the things that that I always tell my students and anyone who will listen to me is that we live in a day and age where like you can make a movie anywhere. I mean, you can be in Kalamazoo, you can be anywhere and make a movie, right? A feature. You can make it, scrape together every last dime you have. If you believe in your project, you don't have to have, a who's who of Hollywood in your movie. It helps in terms of giving it attention, but there have been a lot of films with what we would call no names or undiscovered talent
Right.
that make their way up into the universe. They make their way to the top because they start with really good scripts, and then the execution is really good, even if it's a little gritty. Story trumps everything, and performance trumps everything. So if you have a good story, good performance, good direction, and decent cinematography, I'm kidding. Excellent cinematography for what you can do.
Right.
It really means everything. So like if you're asking me, hey, Hirsch, if you don't raise, the amount of money that you want to raise for this feature, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
And my answer to that is I'm going to make the movie with whatever I get. So that's the point.
That's the way to.
Is that like if it's 10,000 you raise, if it's 50,000 you raise, you can make a really good movie for not a lot of money. And I feel like some people, when they think of like a feature, it's like, oh, you have to have all this money to make it, but you don't. You really don't. You just have to go out and do it, and you've got to enroll people in the process of doing it and make them believe in what you're trying to achieve and make them a part of it. Like, give them a piece of it if you have to. Darren Aronofsky did it.
Yeah, with the new movie Air. Well, they both did it. Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, Matt Damon. They actually went in and did that. I'm working on that exact same model for a series. I was going to do a movie. I've changed it now into a series, and it's on the whiteboard over there I was showing you. So I'm doing the same. I'm cutting in a bunch of these actors and the crew and saying, because we're going to be going from here and we're going to Tokyo and there's a bunch of, so I'm going all in because
Go all in.
You just said, the technology back when we grew up or when I, growing up, film was very expensive. You couldn't do it. Now they've made movies on these phones and it starts and they've won. And, you see some of these big Hollywood movies that have blown up. A crew of 4 people have made it. I mean, everywhere, everything at once.
Yeah.
So much of that movie with the VFX, 4 guys.
Yeah.
4 guys.
Yeah.
Not the whole list of. So it can be done. Just have to, like you said, apply yourself and get some good knowledge around you, people who have some experience.
And are passionate about your vision and your projects. Yeah.
Yep. But again, before everything, it's all about what's on the page.
You got to have a good story.
It's just got to be great. It's got to be good. You got to put your heart and soul into that script. And if you didn't write it, find someone who did, and find it. Like that's part of producing as well. If you're wanting to, finding, if you're not a great writer, then go out and find someone who is, right? And who's written, whose blood is on those pages and offer to make their movie,
Well, so I'm going to share with you, because that's what this is. This whole thing is about transparency. I would not consider myself a writer. I'd call myself the anti-writer if that were something like how some
the
people,
Antichrist.
Kind of very similar actually. Kind of actually the same now that I think about it. But no, if you think about it, it's like if you want me to watch your plant, guaranteed just throw it away. Like some people just have the opposite of a green touch. That's me with plants. So I'm the same with the writing side. That's not my skill, right? Cinematography, the getting the acting, pulling that out of somebody. And actually Evelyn, who's been with many big directors, even gave me a huge compliment yesterday because we were talking about a self-tape and I had to get a roll out of her. And we worked on it. I pulled it out. So to me, every director's got different, a director's, it's such a broad term of what you're doing.
Sure.
So I'd say I'm a director that pulls the performance out, gets in the head. I guess from all my years of it as an actor, you have that. So, but then followed by, I'm a geek. I love computers. And so the cinematography I get all geeky about that.
Right.
Now, that being said, so the written word was never I can take it, change it. Now, about few months back, I've been having this gem where I've built even some of my own projects. I build them into scenarios, which is how scripts actually before there was a script, it was a scenario because that was how filming was done 100 plus years ago. So I take these scenarios and these moments and I weave them, but it's sometimes I lack the verbiage, like what good writing is, because it's not how we speak. It's not, and a lot of people, So I've been working on mine and I'm having somebody look at it, but what's been so interesting for me, and this only happened in the past few months, is I've been letting a lot of the crew read it and some friends, and they're like, this is really good. And I realized it's because I've read thousands of scripts and self-tapes that it's slowly immersed in here. So I knew how to do it, not knowing I knew how to. It was like a muscle reaction. So
it's genius through osmosis.
Genius is a real stretch. All right?
I was giving you a compliment.
Wow, I will take it. But I would say barely competence through osmosis.
It's very self-abusive of you.
Right, but I'm going to now share it. But going back to what you said, so I'm now circulating it with some of the actors and saying, how would you really say that in that character? But here's the funny part. You know how I started the whole thing? Character breakdowns. Pages and pages of like the 1980s style or Stanislavski, right? Character breakdown stuff. And then wrote from that perspective. And it's been very interesting. So I'm sharing my journey as I'm going down it myself going.
What genre is it?
Luke, how would you describe? I'm too close to it. I'm going to put
What
Luke on the
genre
spot.
does this project fall in?
I'd give it a few. I mean, action, romance, comedy.
Okay.
It touches on a little bit of everything, and maybe a little bit of coming of age because everybody's pretty young in the cast. And
So it's an action comedy that has a romantic subplot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kind of
Is
Deadpool.
Is it a feature or is it a TV show?
No, it's a I'm up to,
Series.
8 episodes. And it's all slow burn.
That's the
it's
magic
a
of
really
TV.
slow. That's why. Oh no, if it were a movie,
time.
it would be a whole different animal because
time to
you got
develop
that.
it.
But now that's exactly what I'm doing. Each episode's got multiple character development as you grow. So if you can get to episode 8 or wherever we're at, that's.
Well, I think that's one of the things I admire most about you is that you have this sort of infectious.
I'm sorry about that. If you go to the doctor,
well,
you can.
I had it
it's
treated,
not, it's
I had
not
it
usually
treated last time
conveyed-
we had lunch, but it's still with me. But this drive to get your projects going, and it's something that like your audience should really pay attention to. That, you know, the only one who can make it happen is you. You know, and life is short.
Absolutely.
You know, and I'll to quote the great Chad Michael Murray, who once told me, I said, Chad, why? Why do you keep making films? He said, it's easy. Film is forever. What does that mean? Do you know? I don't know. I think it means it's his legacy. You know?
Yeah. He's feeling, and that's how I'm feeling with this. I'm writing this, and it's a story. And you know, we never even talked really about the strike and all that. But I will say this much: I'm not going to, you know, how do I say this? I'm gonna say it a few different ways because I think there's so much information about the strike that you can look at, but I can say that as a production company of one, right, and I have to figure out how to pay my bills.
If you give me 3%, I'll be a PA on your movie, by the way.
You see how I started at 3? Is that we got to?
3 is my starting point.
I got to talk to your manager over there. Go back there.
Have my people
Let me
talk
talk
to
to.
your
I'm gonna have.
people.
Yeah,
3%.
I'll have the you know Jade and
You can buy
Dave.
me for 3.
Sounds
Go
like
on,
a pretty
go on.
good deal. So what I'm getting at on that is, it's somebody like myself. Now there's a window because I think, and this is purely my opinion, a lot of the actors are looking when they're like striking. It's not me they're coming after. No. It's the giant multi-billion-dollar corporations that have been. You know, we're seeing this across the board, and I think actors are like, I want a great role, and when they see that it's like, hey, they have more than I do, you know, and then they go, okay, I want to help you with this project. Yeah. That's where I think that collaborative, and so going back to that with what's going on in the strike, I think, and this is why I'm coming back to that angle, is I think if you look back where even 5 years ago, it seems like, but literally 5 years ago, now, then all of a sudden COVID hits. Almost bankrupt, starting everything out, right? All the clients are gone. Nobody can film, whatever. Then we start getting some writing. We start making some stuff. And then all of a sudden, everybody starts moving to what happened during COVID. All the consumers, the people who are purchasing the product are going to streaming. They're not, you know, so and you have to be smart. It's like if you're in the horse and buggy business and cars come about, you better retool, okay? So what I'm getting at is we as filmmakers, and when I say filmmakers, entertainers, people who are trying to entertain you with concepts and stories that really, with good acting, something you can get behind. I of course, I don't have a crystal. That's not a crystal ball. I know it was. I'm going to use it for one. But but what I'm getting at is, if you think about it, I would love your take, you know, from that aspect of how it is so dynamic right now, and we're not going to, even if strike ended tomorrow, we're not seeing content for months.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about a little bit earlier the idea that the strike is kind of, in a weird way, emulating what was going on during COVID. During COVID, actors weren't working, right? So as a filmmaker, I'm not saying that all actors were, but a lot of actors were a captive audience. If I needed to get a read on something, I need to get it quickly. There wasn't the situation where the actor could say, oh, I'm working right now, I can't. Some were. But for parts of COVID, people just weren't. It just came to a grinding halt, right? And so the strike that's happening right now, in a weird way, is kind of like that, in the respect that actors are not, maybe they are reading some things, but they're certainly not working to the degree they are, when there's not a strike, obviously. Right. So as an independent filmmaker, it kind of works to my advantage. And it's... I don't want to say it's a good thing, but I'm able to, because I have no pony in the race or horse in the race.
Don't exactly when you don't
I'm not part of the the AMPTP, TM, whatever it is, the acronym is. I'm not part of that union. I'm not involved in any way with the studio. I'm just an independent filmmaker, and I gotta keep making my films. I gotta eat. I gotta feed my family. So whether there's a strike or not, I don't really give a shit. Honestly, what I care about is getting the very best actors that I can. And I know that I'm able to apply for a SAG waiver, which a lot of people are doing.
Yeah, there's a lot. If you go to the website, there's so many. That's why I think it's targeted at the maybe more transparency where you don't know. I mean, and I don't want to mention any of the streamers' names, but I'm just going to say all of them. Right. They won't share their data. So you don't know how to. So the question then, and I've heard this brought up, and I thought this is interesting because now I'm putting on my old CEO hat of tech is. Maybe they don't want anybody to know the numbers because then that affects the stock price of what's really going on. And who knows if they're... So it's a very interesting... Yeah. It's a very interesting... open up the kimono, as they say.
It's true.
So who really... We don't know what's going on. So we think these giant corporations, and maybe they're just very bloated with a lot of overhead and they don't need to be... So there's so many things. That's why I can't give an educated statement other than what I'm seeing, what everybody else is seeing.
I mean, I get it as an indie filmmaker why actors are pissed off about it because I mean, like, there just isn't any transparency. And as someone who puts together budgets all the time, and I put together business plans for projects and pitch decks and all these things, one of the main parts of these are doing comparative analysis of how will my film that I'm making, how does it compare to other films that have already been made? Not that you can ever predict a film's success based on how other films have done, but it is an important part of any business plan or any pitch deck. So people have an understanding that you, as the producer or the filmmaker, really have an understanding of like what's commercial, what the actual investment is. And the hardest part for me is I can't put a number on streaming. Can't do it.
No idea.
I'm just making up numbers at that point, ultimately, because it's not. I have to make assumptions. I have to say, well, I can track Blu-ray and DVD. Not that anyone gets DVDs anymore, but I can track Bluray.
Blu-ray is a more enhanced.
Yeah,
for
they're round.
It looks like
There's like a hole in the middle, and that's what they do.
It's big, okay, so it's a little bigger than this coaster, and no, I'm just kidding.
You stick them into a machine, and it like. Pretty pictures come out with sound.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Anyway, but the point is like then I'm like, okay, well, I'll assume that streaming is doing better than Blu-ray and maybe 50% better. As I'm throwing these numbers in there, and I'm trying to allow my potential investors to get a handle on what they can expect to expect as a return. But there's a whole hell of a lot easier if on Box Office Mojo, I know how a movie did in the theaters on Monday morning, right? That's public knowledge, but there is no public knowledge with any of the streaming numbers. 100%. How I've done deal Hulu, Amazon, all these different streamers, and I have no idea how I get paid. Like I have no idea how that money flows in. I don't know if it's sometimes per stream, if it's a flat rate deal. Like there's just so many different ways of I think skinning the cat in that world, and it's really really hard for independent filmmakers to find a baseline that they can use to get their projects going. So I think it sucks, for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
And I'd like to see more transparency. And you talk about collaboration. It would be really cool if when indie filmmakers do get that information in terms of what their streaming numbers are, if there was some sort of place where we could post it and share it with each other so we can make those sorts of assumptions, or so we can make more concrete, assumptions, you know?
And know your audience.
And know your audience, exactly. So
I know it's interesting. You know, this while you were saying that, I went through my head to say, again, this is 100% a transparent podcast, and I think what people are going to watch is they're going to see how real it is. And the reason I'm bringing it up is right before the strike, and the reason I'm bringing it up is the dollars and cents side is when you're an actor and there was a SAG project, right, in LA, and the crazy part about this is they did a national casting. They used very large talent agents, and it was the AFM, right? Big industry one, and about, I don't know how many hundreds of thousands of directors had to submit to their scripts, their shorts, and only a few got picked. Then they got the ability to use a lot of the resources, the AFM, and they did a casting. And one of the roles, so this comes full circle.
And I believe we are back.
Oh, are we back from our technical
So continue what you were saying.
So with all the AFM and all these amazing things and a huge project, and now I'm going to say I can pull up firsthand experience. The self-tape, which was submitted by my son here, Luke, through his agent. The agent called a few times. It wasn't really the role we thought. He reads for it. The director loves him. He books it. I filled out it easily with him and for him, even though he's passed the CHESP, which is the highest high school. So he can. He's an adult. He's actually an adult. Is the way the law sees it. And so he passes that, so he can work. We're filling out all this paperwork, 60, 80 pages. It's a short. We then go out there. When we show up, it's bigger than, I mean, I'm not kidding when I say they had millions of dollars of equipment and a crew, huge crew, everything. Now, the punchline is, so it's the middle of summer. They pick him. I felt so bad. They pick him. You see how translucent his skin is, right?
I don't have the darkest complexion, if you can tell.
Right.
I don't know if it's just lighting.
They
here,
put him in a long sweat,
big hoodie with a t-shirt underneath and pants.
Long pants,
and,
everything. Everybody else is in shorts. I'm like, whatever, but it's the style.
Hottest day of summer in LA.
Hottest day. He's like turning 9 shades of red, and I'm like dying. And he films the entire day. I'm talking like from what set at like 7, and then literally it was one of those 100 different takes. The director, everything went great. This is not negative. This is to just show a piece of the industry. His check for the whole day, because it was a SAG ultra low budget, is pre-negotiated.
Yeah.
And it was under $200. And wait for it, it cost us a lot more to do that than, he's done. I think, it costs a lot more to do that, to have that. But she wanted some real strong young actors for the thing.
And met some really nice kids on set, my co-stars that were super, super cool.
Yeah, who've done a bunch of big
that
projects.
That was an investment in your future your parents made.
So, but that's what I'm getting at is I see so many actors that think there's money or what. This is an industry. If you want to be at it, you're going years and years and years
have
and
to love it.
And you have to make these contacts and connections and really literally sweat your ass off, because there's a lot of people. And
I agree.
Now hold on. Now I'm going to put that in contrast. Then you've got a lot of people on social media who do this, myself included. You're getting a few $1,000s for one quick little post. And you're like, so you look at how hard the film industry is, and that space a lot. So there's so many different pieces to look at it and criticize and all that. But when you look at somebody in the dedication, so I come back to the filmmaking and the acting and what's going on, and I go, I just think we're in a new time where,
I agree.
Where it's just I would love to. What's your crystal ball say?
I mean, I agree that it is a new time. The age of the influencer is perplexing to me. I get it, but it's just still very strange. I think when Luke did my sizzle reel, he was the only one that got paid. I think you made like what, 150 a day? Was it?
I believe so. Yeah.
150 a day. That was good for a sizzle reel.
That's great. That is
You were
like,
actually
I
our
think
biggest. You were our biggest expense, honestly. So
I drive a hard bargain. What can I say? It's my dadager.
yeah,
He
your
negotiates for me.
your
It's a tough
dadager and
dadager.
momager were
I
all over that
negotiate
one.
hard for you.
What was funny was your agent. What's your agent's name?
Which
I
one
think it
was
was
I think it was at Stella.
Oh, Stellar
Yeah.
Bar.
They were
Barbara
like,
Stellar.
we won our 10%. I was like, okay, here's a check for $15. Okay, go out and buy a Big Mac. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know,
Can I
Pay for the
Kind
gas
of
to get
ridiculous.
to
Oh,
the
she's
bank
not
to
watching.
deposit it.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, you really want it? I just thought it was a throwaway, but okay.
Right. Yeah.
This is sizzle reel. Just so you know, it's not the real thing quite yet. Where we're making, but the point is that
How do you really feel about that?
yeah,
I know. Trust me. I know. Yeah.
I feel like you're right about one thing, and that is, or you're right about a lot
One.
of
I
things.
got it.
Just
Yes,
one.
I won.
With that last
decent hit
bit,
rate.
but it's one more than normal.
Facts.
Was the idea that it is about being the last man or woman standing for actors and for filmmakers in general. I've had friends who have moved out to LA and boom, it just happens for them.
Yeah.
And it's shocking when it happens on the acting side, on the film side, the writing side. It's like, it just blows me away because that's not how it worked for me. I worked my ass off for years. I paid my dues. I'm still paying my dues. I'm still making, low budget movies. I like doing it. I like having that sort of autonomy where I can make what I want. But hey, if the studios wanted to pay me, big bucks, I wouldn't turn it down, right? So, I make the way I make films a lot of the time is out of necessity. And it is about being the last man or woman standing. And I can't say I've had periods where if I'm being honest, where I've lost my way a little bit, where I need to recharge, where I need to find my focus again, where I need to remind myself why I'm doing this. What is it that I hope to achieve? Why? Why are you doing it? Is it what you love? Because a lot of the times with acting and with filmmaking, and I think my wife can speak to this too, because she's an actor and she's in the Screen Actors Guild. If you're not working, what keeps you going? Particularly for actors, that's the biggest struggle. If you're just going on auditions, audition after audition after audition, what keeps the drive going, And how do you make a living and how do you survive? And the same for filmmakers. So, I don't know where it's going. I just know that I can't worry about who's making what. I can't worry about whether influencers are the next best thing. I can't worry about, any of that stuff. I just got to focus on what I'm doing. And if I control what I'm doing, then hopefully I'll, find my way to the top ultimately. But it can be frustrating to see when someone else is making an absurd amount of money for not doing much work at all.
Yeah.
Especially when they haven't suffered in the way that you've suffered, And it is.
I got decades of suffering.
Yeah, it's suffering. It is. It's working hard. It's having tenacity, and those are great things. And I feel like just generally, and this is an overall statement, that with the advent of technology, and this is a commentary on the younger generations, that I feel like it could be a problem in the future, just the idea of tenacity, because everything is so fleeting in your world. And I'm speaking to Luke, right? It's like, oh, this video is on for 30 seconds. I can't watch anymore, Oh, this person got famous in 2 days because they posted this. This went viral. This is how we're measuring success. But it's also a success to spend 10, 20 years working your ass off at something, mastering it, going the extra mile, suffering maybe, making sacrifices to do what you have always dreamed of doing. And I think that I just hope, if we're talking about the future, that the up and coming filmmakers and actors that are out there don't lose sight of that sometimes it is a struggle, and sometimes you do have to sacrifice and be the last person standing. So that's where I sit on it.
And I'd say that's the difference between short-term success and long-term. Like carving out a place for yourself in the industry, no matter what it is. I mean, influencers might have a quicker road to it, but that's just their 15 minutes per se.
No, I agree. You wonder, well, what comes next?
Yeah.
How do you turn 15 minutes into a lifetime?
It's funny you say that. I had a dear friend of ours. His name's Nathan. Look for one of the podcasts, and he was a classically trained opera singer. He went to Carnegie Mellon. He's went to some of the best. Like bottom line, you can watch the video. I should be remembering this, but and then COVID hit. Everything was done. He went to social media, and now he's huge on social media.
Wow.
But he looks at it as a business, and he's helping other people grow, and he's building a foundation on. He realized
one of the good ones.
He's really love him. Brother. And
that's great.
so you're right. And it's the same thing. I'm looking at movies. I'm like, okay, how can I get the angle? Because what we're doing is we're telling a story and entertaining. And if you see the value, even this podcast, if you see the value to it, you'll share it, you'll like it, you'll tell people about it. And that is really where it's been the way it's always been, I think. And now it's just different tools. Like I was saying, and I'm just trying to.
But the tools allow you to kind of get to the success a little quicker.
Right. It's less
harder.
friction. You don't have as many gatekeepers. The question is can you stay there?
You get around agents. You can get around managers much easier. You can do what I call the open field tackle. Do you know what that is?
No.
I tell my students to do this. And in Miami, we get a lot of famous people, right? A lot of people in the business. And I always say to them, if you're out and about, you're at a bar on a Friday night, you're hanging out, and you see, Matt Damon or someone that you think would be great in your movie, you have nothing to lose by going up to that person and saying, I love you. I think your work is great. I just graduated from film school.
Security.
I got this. I guess security.
Security
too. I call it the open field tackle for that reason. Because you got to tackle them.
Right.
But it's happened before. That's happened a lot. The old Liev Schreiber story. Or no, I'm sorry. It wasn't the Liev Schreiber one. It was the Cameron. God, what's that guy's name?
Don't look.
Oh my God. Well,
you're the
cut
professor.
This. No, we can cut this.
Like
I forget Campbell Scott.
Okay.
You know the Campbell Scott story?
I don't know.
He was in this is a true story. He was in I think, and I'm paraphrasing, and I've heard it through the grapevine, so it might be absolutely fiction, but I think it's real. The idea is that he was at a bar in New York one night, and there was this guy who was a screenwriter, wannabe director. He'd written the script. I think the guy's name, I don't remember the guy's name. But anyway, the guy went up to him at the bar, just said, listen, I'm a huge fan. I really, really respect what you do. I love your work. I just graduated film school. I have this script, and I happen to have it with me. And I'd love for you to read it because you'd be great in it. And he was like, what the fuck?
Right, yeah. 100%. Right.
But took the script, was charmed by this guy, this kid, and they made the feature. He attached himself. Wow. Got the money, made the feature.
Right, I got
started the guy's career. So it's like you never know what's going to come of it. Yeah, you might get arrested, but you might. And I'm not saying you need to go out and tackle people. That's just a metaphor.
Sure.
Okay. What you need to do is just be courageous and advocate for yourself. That's what I'm saying. So if you're out and you see someone that you're who could help your career in some way, there's nothing wrong with saying hello. And, kind of pitching yourself. Yeah, you might get shot down 10 times out of 11. But
there's that one.
There's that one who might say yes. You never know.
I couldn't agree more. And it is a collaborative field, like you said.
Yeah.
And you give somebody a meaty role. We go back to that, and they want to do it. And but nobody try and use this and say Herschel told me. Your honor, Herschel told me to.
He said I could go up and tackle people.
All opinions expressed on this podcast are the rights of my good friend Vic.
Exactly. Add disclaimer here. All right.
But the last thing I wanted to say before I can feel like we're getting ready to wrap.
This is so good though. Yeah, I'm going to just got another question.
But what I was going to say is that what you were talking about, paying it forward, really is what you were talking about before, and you do such a good job of doing that.
Thank you.
And I think that more than anything is at the heart of collaboration. People who've been there, who've achieved success, seeing when someone is on the verge or needs your help, pay it forward a little bit. Help take their careers to the next level. There's nothing wrong with it. It's great. It's a mitzvah, as we say, right?
Wow.
To help people.
It's true.
And I don't think there are enough people in the world that do that, and that's what we need. So
I know, and that could go to a much bigger statement of how I feel the world's going is this this just everything is internal. It's
Yeah.
all about me, and
All
I
about
you know, and I appreciate you saying that because I do try and help people, and then sometimes I have to back up because I realize that it's very much one. It's they're not taking it as advice and seeing how to grow from it. It's just like, haha, I got that, and I'm like,
Right.
that's not what this is about. That's not what I'm doing, and there's no hidden agenda, and that's where sometimes it's. So thank you for saying that.
Oh, no,
I still try and live by that of how can we help each other and. I think that just makes it a better place to live.
Agreed.
And all right, without closing on it, you know, one of those deep philosophical. We went into the philosophical side of. All right,
I like
so Luke, come on, there's got to be a great question for Herschel.
Oh, there's another question?
I didn't write down. I didn't write anything down.
Students, and yeah. Oh,
I almost fell off my stool.
this is hey. These are the best things IKEA can afford at $29.
Oh my God, my ass is too big for this stool. What does that say?
Mine goes numb 5 minutes in it. I don't
so
even
numb.
know I have an ass right
I can't
now.
wait to stand. My ass
No,
is
you
going to be
don't
like,
want to stand up because it hurts bad.
Does it?
Yeah, not
Oh,
his
you don't
age.
even know
Our
I've
age,
got
we're
ass
gonna
problems.
we kind
I
of
feel
just
great.
my honestly my advice is just kind of falling on the floor and just kind of slowly let it straighten out.
just roll me out the door, honey.
Excellent.
I do have one little, if you don't have a question, I do have one little anecdote that I wanted to share regarding something we were talking about earlier and I meant to say, and that was the idea of preparing for roles as actors. I was in a casting session. We were casting cavemen. John Levy says to me, okay, we're getting towards the end of I think we cast for 2 weeks, this project, every day for 2 weeks. And he said, okay, we're casting the role of voice number 2, or voice number 1. And I was like, what? We'll do that in post. We'll just hire. He's like, no. Every role in your movie matters. Anytime you need any performance done, you have to properly cast it. And if you don't, you will suffer. You will pay the price. And so the situation was there's a character in the movie, Chad Michael Murray is being sort of molested, I guess you would say, on stage by an actress. And he's wanting it to stop. And she's taking advantage of the situation. And he's looking they're doing Romeo and Juliet, and he's looking off screen to the lead watchman. That was it. Lead watchman number 1, waiting for this guy to say his line so the scene could come to an end. Right? And the line is like, hark, whatever.
Hark.
So I was like, okay. I look out in the waiting room, and there are 30 actors sitting in there to read for this one little line that's not even on camera. Hark, who goes there? That's what it was, right? And I was like, 30? He's like, yep. And every person came in, ba-bum, 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 doing this, hark, who goes there? Doing their thing, and didn't prepare in the way they should have prepared. Until the end, this guy comes in, and he's literally decked out in Romeo and Juliet garb.
See, oh my God, I love those castings back in the day.
And he walks in,
yeah.
and he's got this demeanor to him that is he's in Romeo and Juliet. And I'm looking at him, I'm like, oh, this guy's kind of nutty, right?
A little intense.
He's really taking this seriously. And so the casting associate reads the line prior to his, and he goes, hark, who goes there, good man? And he had developed this whole character for this one little line. And it was hysterical in the sense that we couldn't believe he had done it. Mm-hmm. And we loved it so much that we gave him not just the role in the movie, but we gave him a speaking, we featured him in the movie. So just from that one little line, and that's sort of the lesson is do your work, prepare.
Make yourself memorable. Yeah.
Make yourself memorable. And I think that the casting director, that John used him for other things after that.
That's awesome.
He was smitten with this guy just from a little one-liner.
And most actors say that their least favorite tapes are the ones where you get it's on a page and you just have 2 and the rest is all crossed out and stuff. But I think that's when you get the most freedom. You really get to give it your own kind of spin. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to figure out how to word this. Because most of the time you get a really long, 5-page, average 5-page script, you kind of get a feel for the character. But when it's 2 words, literally 2 words, you can really dive deep and create something and make it memorable. Like he did.
I agree.
So since you said that, I'll close with this one.
Mm-hmm.
One of my favorite things to do with the masterclass, because you're going to know immediately, and those of you, this is to see everybody's age behind here. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
So I write it. I literally write this. He knows what I'm going to do. I write it 3 times, right? And it's help me, help you.
Yeah.
Help me, help you. Help me, help you. And I give it to the actors, and I go, here you go. And everybody looks at me like I'm out of my mind. And then I turn around and I play Tom Cruise doing it, going, help me. And you're like, that's how you do That's
how
and
you
that,
do
and,
it.
and it became an iconic moment. Those 6 words,
Yeah.
right? Or, help me, help you. Okay,
Yeah.
there are 12 words or whatever. My math's bad right now. But you just that little,
Yeah.
and it's how you, like he said, so that's when you're working on stuff and you create that moment in the movie where, like you said, and the director goes, wow, yeah, I need you in this. Because it may not even be that scene, but you're going to bring something. And I've been watching some stuff recently where some very famous directors are like, okay, yeah, let's move on. And the actor's like, but I don't feel, and he's like, we'll get it on the next. That scene was good. Like, so it's not every scene has to be this Academy Award winning, but you get those help me or show me the money or like, there's so many of those that Tom Cruise has that we know and it's global in nature. So that's where I say those are actors. Those are people who are at their craft, who you have to look up to and say, you're creating something in this moment as a director. That's what I love to work with as an actor. I'm like, yeah, maybe they wrote it that way, but how about we make it interesting?
Yeah.
Make it interesting. Make somebody remember you in that character. And that's where self-tape, anyway.
Sure, that's where it falls short. Great actors elevate the material. They elevate what you've written. They find the laughs between the laughs, the tears between the tears. They take something that might seem a bit mundane and they take it to another level. And that's why we hire great actors,
There you have it.
So, yeah. Interestingly enough, what's scary about your anecdote is that your students had never seen Jerry Maguire.
No, look at him.
The amount of times I've seen that clip, I can't even count.
Oh my God.
Right.
What I would love to do, it fascinates me. I have students, they come into film school and I'm like, okay, today we're going to look at a scene from E.T. And they're like, what's E.T.? I've never seen
They're on their phone.
Yeah.
How do you spell that?
Exactly. They've never seen it. I'm like, okay, guys, I'm giving you a list of films that you have to watch before you graduate film school. You just have to. You have to watch. You wanna become a good filmmaker? You wanna become a good actor? Watch the greats.
It's like studying.
Yes.
It's studying.
Go to
Everything
school.
else you have to study.
Yeah.
Every set you learn something, even the bad ones. And it's like, so I'd be sitting there, EATTEA. It's a tea shop. No, okay. ET?
Who's T?
ET. It's weird. Anyway, but it's so true. And having that history, because then you can play on, oh my gosh, I should link it, but there's another one of those great ones. And it's, I believe it was Brando. And help me with Johnny Depp, and they had like some chance meeting, and it was a little thing in a prepend of a book. And you remember,
I have it in my folder right now.
yeah, he's actually got it, and I should see if if there's a YouTube link, I'll find their interview they talked about, and Johnny Depp and meeting their first thing, and they were like, they bonded instantly because it was this same famous monologue, not a monologue, and I've given it to some of the students that I've had, and I'm like, work on this, put this in your, like they had it on their phone as the screen thing, and it's just, so there's those iconic things, so if you know it, you show up on set and you're like, you've done your homework.
Yeah.
You're ready to go. You know what I mean? And that speaks volumes. Because then when you're on set, you can move faster. You can. There's a lot of stuff you can take as read, as they say. Right? Let's get going.
Let's get rolling.
All right. Advice then. You're dealing with all of these students, and you're here at the New York Film. The last question. So, oh my God, we've launched the last one. Well, whatever. I mean, unless you've got one, I don't want to short Luke or you, but I'm just gonna say, I go to film school because a lot of people ask, is it the collaboration? Is it just the discipline? What makes a successful student?
A successful student is a sincere commitment to learn filmmaking. If we're just talking about film school, same with acting, and it's completely giving yourself to the process. At NYFA, New York Film Academy South Beach, we're the smallest of the three campuses, but we're a tight knit community. And when you make a film at NYFA, it's like making. It's sort of like being in the studio system. You have a lot of people involved, weighing in, helping you develop the very best script and best film that you can possibly make. So the support level it's at an insanely high level, and we become a family making these films. And I think that at a lot of larger film schools, sometimes you miss out on that experience. But that's one of the things that makes NYFA South Beach so unique, is the idea that we really are this tight-knit family, and we look out for each other, and we want the best for each other, and we want you as filmmakers to, if you do the work, to go the distance, so to speak. We want your films to get into Sundance. We want them to win the big festivals.
It's the oasis in Miami where you can actually collaborate.
Yeah. It is. There's an amazing amount of collaboration going on, and I have to tell you that when I'm not making features, I consider it one of the great blessings of my life to be able to work and teach at the school, because it keeps me young and keeps me feeling like I'm a little bit relevant.
You're
and
29.
Yeah, exactly. It allows me keeps my creative juices flowing, and.
I understand that completely, being around all the talent I'm around. I have all this incredibly young talent around me, and it doesn't make me feel a day over 31.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
God, you're older than me?
I know.
So weird.
A few months.
I know. I saw your headshot.
That was AI. I used his.
I was going to say, Chat GPT.
Yeah, exactly. Mid-Journey, I've had him. All right. So I have a feeling we've gone for a minute.
Wow.
So this is amazing.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think I'm really excited to see the feedback, because what's great is I know you. And you're here, and we can see some of the comments. And I think it'd be interesting to get you back and start talking more about the journey of here.
Yeah.
And what, Ethan Bloom, everybody's going to be able to go below. And I know, let's promote it. Let's talk about it. Get people to follow it, because there's nothing better. It's like I said, you learn everything by being on set. You learn all that sort of stuff. And you can go to film school, and it's wonderful, and to collaborate. But I've even noticed when I was fortunate enough where you've asked me to, I like the call. Hey, they're filming something. You want to go just take a look?
Vic, get the drone out.
Or other ones, just go check it out. Maybe you can be it. And I love it. It's not just, wait, I'll give you a laugh. There's some other movies in the past where people are like, and I'm not kidding, we can't put your name anywhere here. And I go, and you know me, I'm like, I don't need my name. Yeah. What do you need? And they're like, well, this is their first time directing, or this is the first time they're pulling. I'm like, I'll just hang out. And so, of course, I show up with my cocktail and the blue goatee and the hat usually and whatever. We're like, hi, guys, how can I help? And it's funny. And 90% of the time, I'm just like, I'll walk up. I'll be like, what are your gain set on those lavs? Or how are you shooting that with it? Is that motion happening because the scene has motivated motion to it? Or could you just do a lock-off shot? So all of a sudden, then they go, you see the eye, you go, and I'm like, well,
Yeah. And then they're like, oh shit, we're in the presence of greatness.
That's I don't think.
What are we doing? Get him off set.
Get
him out of here.
No, that's when I get a bottle of brought to me. It's happened. That's when I know. When I get the free liquor, then I'm like, okay, I'm allowed to stay.
You're allowed to stay.
Otherwise, I just go sit on my email.
That's funny.
Oh well,
Very
this
cool.
was
fun.
so amazing. Hey, and you know what I can say? This is your first podcast.
First podcast. It is my. Yes, I'm now sullied.
I have a trophy for you.
Do you?
No, but I'm going to make one.
I'll just take this crystal ball.
This is your trophy. I think it's the best thing you can find at IKEA which is next door to
It's really, I like it quite a bit.
Thank you. It just kind of creates that little.
Your whole space is unbelievable. If you have the opportunity to come down here, please come, because it's amazing.
Don't come. It's my secret little man cave.
I think it's martini time, no?
It is martini time. Well, everybody, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. If you made it to the end of this, thank you. That's all I can say more. And hopefully you got something out of it. And feel free to comment below because that is really what's feeding it. We've been getting a lot of great feedback, and that is really invigorating us going back to that feedback loop. That's what's so cool about, YouTube and that ability in the podcast where people are like, hey, I like this. You're really giving good. I'm like, great. So I'm telling everybody, hey, subscribe, because when I get my numbers bigger, then other people want to come on. Right now I have to beg and plead with friends to come on.
We were done.
I'm like, no,
What's
I'm going to get
happening here?
5. Yeah, I'm going to get 5 people subscribing. So that's it. So with that said, please subscribe, check it out. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having
That's
us.
a wrap.
Go ahead, you say it.
No, that's a wrap.
There it is. That's
I
it.
haven't said that in a while.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Woo! My ears are sweating. Careful when you stand up.
Oh my God.
Because your legs aren't going to work right.
Let the ears-
Oh, showing off. Showing off. Cocktail time. I don't even want to know what time it is. Well, it's not midnight. Oh my God.